Louisiana All-American Sports Show. 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 Louisiana. If the sports you want to talk about, then listen to the hottest show that's coming out the South. It's Eric Hatfield and Coach Perry Daniels, man. They're going to sit you down and tell you all about the game and make it plain. 96.9 FM, that's the station. They hear the best sports talk show in the nation. Without hesitation, you should get with this. You get your popcorn ready, boy, you better not miss. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana. Joker B.
I'm just so fresh, so clean. Good morning, Baton Rouge, and welcome to another edition of the Louisiana All-American Sports Show right here on 96.9 FM WHYR-LP, Baton Rouge Community Radio. Today is Saturday, July 22nd, 2017, and you're locked and loaded to the 29th edition of the year 2017 of the Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Good morning, this is Eric Hatfield.
And I'm Gerard Piper, a.k.a. Joker P.
And this is Derek Thomas, also known as Daddy Cakeface.
And I'm Coach Perry Daniels.
And if I live to be 100, I might never stop chuckling at least a little bit every time I hear Daddy Cakeface.
And what is Perry Daniels also known as?
P. Diddy.
We have a special guest joining us. He's going to be our guest for the entire show, a good friend of mine. A gentleman, he is born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. He has an interest in football and golf. He has a master's degree in accounting and finance. He's also a graduate of the University of New Orleans. He is the writer for Who Dat Dish. My good friend, Dean Mullen. Dean, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I can't complain.
Yes, Dean's going to join us for the entire show. And when we get to something more, what he covers is going to be the Saints, but he's going to participate and give his keen insight to our entire show today. So we're blessed and thankful to have Dean be a part of the Louisiana All-American Sports Show on this Saturday morning.
Hey, Derek, let me go ahead and issue the disclaimer or the warning, Joker. It's like here we have, at Louisiana All-American Sports, Dean, we have weaponized our art. We shed no blood, but we also take no prisoners. So welcome to Louisiana All-American Sports. We're going to have a great show, and we're glad you're here to join us for this show. Let's go forward, fellas.
All right. Well, we got a lot to talk about, and first I want to talk about this. And as you know, I cover HBCU sports for Black College Experience, and I just happened to find out about a McKinley graduate. Yes, we are a McKinley station. We cover McKinley football. So when I saw this young man on the roster of the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, and I saw hometown Baton Rouge, high school McKinley, I was like, wow, I have to find out about this guy. And I looked at their stats, and I saw that he played in 11 games. None other than David White. He is entering his senior year for Arkansas Pine Bluff. And last year, like I said, he played in 11 games, had 55 tackles, 1 pick, 4 tackles for loss, 9 pass breakups, 10 pass defense, and 1 blocked kick. I mean, hey, McKinley black grass everywhere playing football. You know what I'm saying? Josh Quiet's going to be at Tulane next year, and we got this young man going into his senior year at McKinley. And you all know I'm not from here, so when I saw that, I just had to add that to today's show to give this young man some shine on the Louisiana All-American Sports Show, because we know we have McKinley grads listening.
Yeah, those McKinley play. Look, McKinley produces a lot of fine athletes and a lot of fine students, and this is just another example of that Panther perseverance, if you will. Good to see it too on the football side of things, because if he's a senior, that means he was around during I don't want to call it the medieval ages of McKinley football, but they definitely didn't quite have as much firepower, as much potential as they have now. But I'm glad to see another McKinley graduate doing well. But of course, that's what we've come to expect from Big Blue.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it's Coach Signator, right?
Yeah, he would have had to have been the Coach Sig.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate that, Derek. Derek said he saw something about McKinley grad.
Yeah.
And brought it up, and man,
Daddy Cake Face is on it today,
Daddy
man.
Cake Face, man.
It's on fire.
Well, and Dean, this guy, the next person I want to talk about, he was born in Metairie, but he played high school at Lutcher High School. And this is a gentleman by the name of Dexter McCoil, and a story in the Advocate about his NFL journey. And as we all know, getting to the NFL is not an easy road. And when you talk about the road that Dexter McCoil took to get to the NFL, it was a long one. He came out of Tulsa, went undrafted, played a little arena league, played in Canada, and was signed to the Chargers practice squad and earned his way onto the roster. But after he graduated from Tulsa, he also worked as a janitor. So now, here he is now playing for the Los Angeles Chargers. And he came back last week to give a free football camp to area Lutcher boys and girls from age of 8 to 18. And when you have someone like that who works hard and then comes back and gives to their community, I mean, you want to highlight that. I mean, this is a Louisiana native coming back home to show that, hey, with hard work and perseverance and persistence, you can achieve your goals. So that's going to show he's going to be a role model for those kids. So tell us what you think about that, Dean, his road to the NFL journey, because, you know, with you covering the Saints, you're going to be covering a lot of roads to the NFL journeys for young men just like Dexter McCoil.
Yeah, you know, I love this subject because I was at a few college pro days, you know, over the spring, and it's just amazing how much adversity these kids have to overcome, especially when you're not undrafted. I mean, there's so much talent out there, and the guys that get drafted obviously, you know, have a bigger weight, but it can happen. I mean, there's some great talent that has come out undrafted. And a lot of these kids just don't have the guidance. You know, they don't have an age or anything. They're just trying to feel it out. So what he's done, I think that's excellent. You know, giving back and everything. I think that's wonderful.
We're gonna jump over to high school now in our local segment, and you know, two of my favorite high school recruits, Tyrion Davis and Damone Clark, still in the news making noise. LSU commitment and Southern Lab 4-star recruit Damone Clark was one of 51 high school players from around the country named to the Buckets Award list for high school players. So I want to say congratulations to Damone. His recruiting is still blowing up. Also, LSU commit in the class of 2019, Tyrion Davis, visited Alabama this week, and he also has added offers from Oklahoma State and Florida. So, you know, he's going to be a sought-after recruit for the 2019 class. So we want to make sure we highlight our young men who are doing well representing the state of Louisiana. I have one more to talk about, and this is, I'm going to call him, you all may know this guy, Trendon Charles.
Trenton Charles is a baller.
Yes, he is a 3-star recruit out of Scotlandville. He committed to Yale.
Wow.
He is
good
a 5'9", 165-pound spark plug. He had offers from Arizona, ULM, U of L Lafayette, SMU, TCU, UT
Arizona,
San Antonio, and Tulane, along with others. But he decided to go to Yale. He has made I think he made a 29 on the ACT. So that just shows you his commitment on the football field and in the classroom. Perry, you got anything you want to say about Charles? Anyone else?
I certainly do after Coach. Go ahead, Coach.
No, that's just awesome, man. Anytime you hear a young man from South Baton Rouge going to a school so prestigious, you know that could possibly change his whole family's trajectory So it's just exciting to hear, and Scotlandville to be a part of that is awesome. I guess that would have been under Valdez.
That would have been under. He was there under Coach Valdez, and I believe last year he was there last year as well. But yeah, he was there under Coach Valdez when we had a few Scotlandville games on the game of the week, and we had Trenton Charles was in studio. Very humble kid, very mild mannered. But I do remember it was either he or Coach Valdez. Someone mentioning he had a really good GPA, 3.8, 3.9. I kind of, it's one of those things I kind of remember, kind of filed away in my mental Rolodex. And so fast forwarding later now, hearing that he's committing to Yale, a couple of things too. He committed to Yale. He had an offer from Tulane. He also had offers from some quote unquote Power 5 schools. So it tells me he's focused mainly on his academics. He also wanted to get far away from here because if you want to go to great school, Tulane's right up the road as well, but he wanted to get far, far away, and I think it's going to be a great experience for him. And he's one heck of a running back. And I'll tell you, in that Ivy League, 5'9" speedy guys can compete. So I think he's on his way to a great future. It's kind of hard to keep up. You don't see those guys on ESPN every week, but I'm looking forward to keeping up with this young man's future because I think he's made a great choice. Great athlete, smart, clearly a very smart guy, and I'm just happy to hear that. That Scotlandville's producing a kid, as Perry said. When you go to an Ivy League school, your whole life for you and your family has an opportunity to change, and I had no idea he was that heavily recruited. I am very happy to hear that. He is one heck of a football player as well. That I can attest to with my own two eyes.
Yes, indeed. Dan, you want to comment on this commitment?
Yeah, I'm just envious that my ACT score is about half as much as his. I wish I had those scores that I can go to those schools. But, yeah, I think, there's a guy that went to Villanova. I can't remember his name. Got drafted the first round this past draft. And Yale is prestigious. I would do the same thing, man. I mean, if you're good, you're going to stick out no matter where you're at. Ivy League, doesn't matter. So I like that. I like that decision.
All right, we're going to jump over to the Bluff now. And we all know, you all talked about SWAC Media Day last week when I was out in the field. But I was able to find some news. Coach Dawson Odoms is having Ladies on the Bluff Chat and Chew. Monday night, it's a football clinic for ladies 18 years and older, featuring Coach Dawson Odoms and the Southern University coaching staff. The attire is casual and comfortable. Ladies on the Bluff jersey shirts if you have one. Registration begins at 5 p.m. and the event will go from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I was going to go to that, and try to get an interview with Coach Odoms, but guess what? Monday is my 37th birthday. I'm going to celebrate with some friends of mine. So unfortunately, I won't be able to go to that. But hopefully, I'm going to get some audio from Coach Odoms on that, and then we'll be able to utilize that on next week's show to talk about this event with ladies. Because, not only are men fans of football and college football, ladies are too. So congratulations, Coach Odom, on including the ladies in this chat and chew to educate our ladies on football. It's just good to see community events like that with Southern University. What do y'all think about that?
I think that's fantastic. I'm happy to hear that Coach Odoms is getting folks involved. One thing I'll say, he's a man who's gotten himself, who has dug in. He is involved in the community, and women, the fans. You go out to A.W. Mumford Stadium, and look, the women are just as dialed in and involved and enthusiastic. And Coach Odoms also knows marketing his program is important. Women make up a lot of the buying force, quite frankly, in our economy. And one thing I can say unequivocally, or I think Coach Odoms will tell you unequivocally. After coming on the show, he made that very clear. So I think it's very wise of him to reach out, branch, and teach some ladies about football. And all levity aside, I've over the years I've spoken with many women who've just kind of casually mentioned, I wish somebody would teach the ladies about football. We like it. We like the enthusiasm, but, they haven't been watching it since they were 4, 5, 6, 10 years old like we have. They're a little behind. I think it's great. Indeed. I really think it's great, and it's good. And I like his involvement. I really do.
Yes,
most definitely. I think Coach O, it's about principalities. So he has a lot to. It's a great program, though. I think it's overdue, actually,
right?
Because the sport has become so popular now, and to incorporate half of the population would be a good idea, I would think.
I concur.
Shouts out to the Coach O.
And Dean, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Friday. Have you ever seen that movie, The First Friday, with Ice Cube?
Of course.
And Chris Tucker, Dean?
I did, but
I was getting ready to say, if you said no, we
Like,
was going to have to hang up on
you under 25?
Yeah, let's get ready.
I have. It's been a long time.
Yeah, the running joke is Coach Odoms can be the twin for Big Worm. So he allows that joke because, hey, I mean, it gives him exposure. I will allow it to be compared to one of the most iconic movie characters in history. I mean, that's going to be good exposure for your program to me. I would think so.
Well, honestly, if he didn't allow it,
still would be going.
we still was going. So, you know,
I'm glad it has his blessing.
Right.
We want coaches to like us, but he's a really good sport about it. And one thing I'll say about Coach Odoms, he understands the value of. He understands how important it is, especially being at a mid-major at a SWAC school. How important free, publicity that does not cost money is, and how the return on the investment ultimately. Both directly and indirectly gets attention for your program and ultimately can bring funds to your program either through fan participation or exposure on a bigger level, maybe getting some of those gigs like going to a big SEC school, getting a payday. So he gets it. He understands what he has to do, and he's a good sport.
He definitely does. And see, what the one thing about it, I think what he has done is he has actually changed the culture.
He has.
He has, I mean, in just a couple of years, it went from Stump to him, and just the whole culture has changed at Southern.
You all know y'all need to give my Delta Devils credit for that.
Hey, man, and so his
I'm gonna
his
smile
attitude.
every time y'all say that. I'm going to be happy.
Hey, Delta Devils get no credit. But anyway, so Coach Odoms, and that's what I think his presence, the things he has implemented up there, of course, winning and bringing that winning tradition back to Southern is just, we have just a whole new energy now, and I think that's what he brings to the table. Plus, looking like Big Perm. Wouldn't hurt.
Indeed. All right. Also, our final story on the Bluff talks about Southern's Danny Johnson. And he is going to be a leader in that Jaguar secondary. He led the FCS in interceptions with 8 last year. He had a goal of 10. Perry, thank you. You there, Perry?
I'm here.
All right, yeah, we lost Perry for a minute, but he's back. We're talking about Danny Johnson, Perry, leading the FCS in interceptions with 8 and coming back for his senior year. Tell us, what do you think about Danny's chances on surpassing that feat, and also, how he's going to lead the Southern Jaguar defense, because they're going to be a defensive team this year. Even though they have quarterback Austin Howard leading the offense, I think Southern's defense is going to have to carry them this year. What do you think?
Well, it's going to be difficult to duplicate that task, because at that level, when they've got film on you and you picked so many.
They're not going to throw you away.
Away from you.
Yeah, they don't come your way anymore. They throw away from you. So I don't see him duplicating that task. But, you're absolutely right. That Southern defense is going to have to lead the way, and I'm sure Coach Odoms will have them ready to do just that.
Right. And he has a goal of getting 12 picks this year, and he wants to improve upon the Southern defense allowing 29 passing touchdowns, not only the most in the SWAC, but 6th most in the country. They also allow 250 passing yards per game, 97 most in FCS. So, he's going to have to improve on that as a team. But I think the Southern defense is going to be up to the task.
Well, Derek, I got to tell you that you just hit when you said that a minute ago. I kind of wanted to. That has been Southern has leaked yards like a sieve this year, and I'm aware the young man had forced a lot of turnovers, which is great. But Southern's defense has got to turn it around if they want to compete. If they want to be on an even footing with Grambling, because they leaked a lot of yards last year, gave up a lot of points. Now they won because they had the firepower on offense. You had really. you had a couple of guys who were really all-time Southern University greats in Willie Quinn and in Leonard Tillery on that team, and Austin Howard has had a stellar career there, so they were able to keep up and put up the points and move the ball, and also tight end
Dylan Beard.
Dylan Beard. I always get ready to call him Darian. I know that's not his name. Dylan Beard quietly piled up some yards himself. I believe Beard is coming back. He was a junior last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he'll be back.
So they have some of those weapons coming back, but that defense has got to hold some water, man. They gave up a lot of. It seemed like people could just run the ball on them at will, but they were able to outshoot their opponents. But of course, when it came down to the Bayou Classic, you saw they were as Professor T.
Professor Terrell.
Professor Terrell would say they were exposed. They were exposed. So that's got to. It's going to take. You can pick off those balls all day, but if they go to the other side of the field and just run the ball down their throats, and Southern gives up so many yards per game and all those points, it's going to be the same story.
You know what that
all
reminds
over
me
again.
of too? It reminds me of since we got Dean on the line. It reminds me of the Saints a few years ago.
Yes.
A lot of
2
offense.
years ago.
A lot of offense, but just playing that track meet type of thing. No defense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Dean? And Dean, I like that name, Dean. Dean.
Believe me, the Saints. That's the common thing. The last few years, all offense, no defense. We can score about 45 points, but if you're giving up 46, it don't really matter.
Yes,
Right.
sir, most definitely. But yeah, like I was saying, I really love that name, Dean. Dean is a famous name, man.
Dean Martin?
Yeah, we got Dean Martin. We got Jimmy Dean.
Dean Kane
We
played
got
Superman.
Dean Kane, Dean Koontz, Dean Smith.
All right.
Yeah, man. So
All right, so
The only thing bad with Dean is it rhymes with a lot of things. So when I was in grammar school, man, I got Dean the Bean, Dream Machine. I got all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it's a good name. It's pretty rare too to meet another Dean too.
yes, indeed. So we're gonna jump over to the other side of town. We got two things we want to talk about with LSU, and that's LSU stars Arden Key and Darius Geis being named to the Walter Camp Award list.
We got to
cue the music up.
get a little flavor in here, man. a little flavor.
yeah, we need flavor, baby. We more robotic. You're a little robotic.
All right,
Only in the
other side of
wide.
Yeah.
So we
This
all
ain't
know
CNN.
we all know Darius Geis, what he did last year for LSU, stepping in for an injured Leonard Fournette and leading I think he led the ACC in rushing, and he's going to be a favorite for the Heisman this year, being added to the Walter Camp Award list. And Arden Key, who has had a tumultuous offseason, but we know his talent. We know he's going to be a disruptor for LSU's defense when he comes back. Dean, tell us what do you think about Arden Key and Darius Geis?
Well, like you said, Darius Geis, he is going to be a great player at LSU this year. They got a tough schedule, but look for him to make a good run at the Heisman. And the other guy I'm just not familiar with, but Geis, he's going to run all over the field. That's pretty much all I have to say about him. He's going to be something special. It's going to be tough to take Fournette's spot in a way, but if anybody can do it, he can. No doubt about it.
All right, Perry, what do you want to say about Geis and Key?
Well, you were on assignment last week, Derek, but we touched on this, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The audience. But Darius Geis, I feel he's a beast, and he should be a front runner for the Heisman. And I just questioned his decision to go to LSU. We touched on that last week.
Right. You said that he would have been better, or he probably would have won the Heisman if he chose another school. I wanted to ask basically a trivia question. I don't know the answer. I'm pretty sure Eric does. He's our sports encyclopedia over here. Who was the last running back to win the Heisman? Because it's mostly like a quarterback-driven type of an
probably,
award.
The
Was
Alabama,
it with the long braids?
Ingram?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, thank you.
Oh, yeah, Henry,
Yeah, but before him, it had been a long time.
It had been a long time.
It will come to me, but before Henry, it had been more than 10 years. I want to say it was from Wisconsin. It'll come to me in a second, but it had been more than 10 years, I think, since I've been Mark Ingram. Mark was the last one before Derrick Henry, so it had been a long. That was 2010, so it had been a while,
Yeah, pretty much how it. We like offense right now. Even in college, everybody's spreading the ball out, and so it's. I think Darius Geis, of course, is going to be a great running back. But I don't know if he can win that Heisman. I think he has a lot of hurdles to get over. And
think everybody gonna stack the line and force LSU to throw?
Well, I mean, I think he's going to get the numbers, but it's just that it's a quarterback-driven type of
and you got to win.
Yeah, and you got to win too. And so sometimes the top three is always quarterback, so they may throw a running back in there, but.
I mean, Fournette was the one that when before he had that not last
Alabama.
year, but the sophomore year. Well, yeah, before that. But I mean, he was before Derrick Henry kind of ripped the Heisman out of his hands. He was like it was almost like the press was getting ready to hand it to him at the start of the year. Ironically, a running back did win, but that does not happen very often. That was rare. That was something that hadn't happened in a very long time, where you saw a running back leading the pack. And Darius Geis doesn't have that. That name, that name recognition, although he's starting to get it because last year he really stepped his game up. It's going to be hard for him to stand out. But if he continues to run the ball the way he did last year, particularly after Fournette went down and started missing a lot of games and a lot of series, I mean, look, he has as good a chance as anybody else. But you're right, the quarterbacks have they have the ace of spades, they have the high cards, they have a lot of stuff stacked in their favor going in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that quarterback out of Louisville seems to be the front runner.
Lamar Jackson to repeat?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. All right. So next up, we're going to talk about something that Dean loves to talk about. Dean, we about to step into your wheelhouse. We're about to jump into the NFL and talk about the New Orleans Saints.
So we are going to step into the. But Derek, we got to work on this audio transition. This is radio. They can't see us. What Derek is trying to say is, for the first time in quite some time, we're going to talk about the National Football League. Windows 10. There we go. All right, Derek, go ahead.
All right. So we all know, we talked about who Dean covers. Dean covers the New Orleans Saints. So we're going to let Dean do his thing. So Dean, take it away and talk about the Saints out season.
Yeah, actually, this is going to be a great training camp. As y'all know, they're going to be in Metairie, Louisiana for the first time in 4 years. So that one thing, everybody said it's been a curse ever since we've been going to West Virginia. Who knows? But I think a lot of Houdat's going to be happy this year to see them in training camp this year. And to be honest, I am really excited about their draft picks, what they did over the off season. This is going to sound really crazy, but I predicted them 12-4 a couple months ago. 12-4. That's before all these injuries and stuff to set them back. But the schedule sets up great. The first 6 games are going to be they're going to tell the whole season. Because they have 4 playoff teams that they face in the first 6 games. So, but I really like the talent they're bringing on. I just hope they can keep Drew Brees upright. And I hope AP can run around a little bit. So I feel really good. I feel really optimistic. Last year, I predicted them 6-10. So it went 7-9. So I'm feeling a lot better this year.
But talk to us about some of the injuries that have occurred, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, the Nick Farley thing obviously is a really tough thing to swallow. I mean, prayers out to his family with that heart issue. You got Teron Armstead, who's going to be out for a while. Those 2 guys, especially Armstead and Farley, both those guys.
Dean, real quick, how much time is Armstead expected to miss? Because how many regular season games, I should say, is he expected to miss?
It's one of those things. At first, they said like 4 to 6 months, and it's really hard. Hopefully by mid-season, but I don't think there is a specific timetable for that injury. And Farley, obviously, that's a whole different story. But and to be honest, injuries is going to be the key this year. Keeping them down, obviously. I think that is the biggest key. If they could stay healthy, there is no reason that they can't make the playoffs this year if they stay healthy.
Perry, you have anything for Dean?
Yeah, Dean. So, first of all, welcome to Louisiana All-American Sports. Again, I want to get that in. We appreciate you being here. What steps did the front office, the general manager, the head coach, what steps did they take during the off season to shore up, one, the secondary, and two, I guess, just the defense in general?
Well, I mean, to start with the draft, they drafted, which I liked. My first mock draft, I had Marcel and Lattimore going, their first pick way back in April. And I've been watching tape of him, actually, hours and hours of tape at Ohio State. Loves playing right up on the guy. He could play one-on-one coverage. I really like Lattimore. Also like, which I wasn't sure about, Marcus Williams. He's going to be a safety. Now, whether he's going to be a starter or not, I don't know. You got Delvin Breaux on the other side. Again, last year, we had so many injuries last year, in the secondary especially. And what helps the secondary is a good pass rush, And they did draft a couple guys late, 5th, 6th round, Trey Hendrickson and Al-Quada Muhammad. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but some people wanted them to go first round with defensively. I know that a lot of people are a little disappointed with that. But, pass rush is going to help the secondary. They can get to the quarterback, make things easier. So it's a combination of, the draft, and hopefully they get a pass rush going. I think that is the key to this year, pass rush.
And also on the offensive line, isn't Max Unger is undergoing some injury issues also. So talk to us about what the Saints going to do for his replacement, because there is a former All-Pro center who was a free agent, and Nick Mango. Talk to us about what the Saints plan to do as Max Unger recovers from his injury.
Yeah, and I tell you, being a center and on the offensive line is probably the most important things, because the center, he knows the calls, he snaps the ball. That is like a very, very important position. I mean, a lot of people look at it. So, not having Max is going to be an issue. There's no doubt. They got a couple guys. They got a guy, Cameron, from Southern. He's an undrafted rookie, undrafted free agent. And he might get a look over there. There's some free agents out there. But that center position is critical. I mean, it's all about timing, and Drew Brees is very, very specific about detail, getting that snap on time, and so that's going to be critical as well, no doubt.
Right. Now, you mentioned something about pass rush. So you need a good defensive line for pass rush, but you also need a good linebacking core to stop the run. And that is a weakness of the Saints defense. I know they signed Manti Te'o from the Chargers. Talk to us about what do you think about how he's going to come into the fold. Is he going to help that rush defense as far as stopping the run? Talk to us about the Saints linebackers, because, that's a crucial unit, because even though they're the second level, I mean, they have not had adequate linebacker play in quite a while. And as we know, old school Saints were known for their quality linebacker play. Pat Swilling, Sam Mills, Von Johnson, Saints of old. Yeah.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. So, talk to us about the Saints linebacking core, Dean.
I'll tell you what, that was the one thing that disappointed me in the draft. We were so close to getting that guy. I can't remember his name right now, from Alabama. We were like one pick away from getting that
Reuben
guy.
Foster?
With that?
Reuben Foster?
Yes. I wanted Foster. I didn't think he'd go down that far. I didn't even think we had a shot. But we didn't get him, which is just how it is. But Manti Te'o, is a question. The linebacker core is a question mark. I'll tell you that right now. They did draft Alex Anzalone, I believe, in the 3rd round from Florida. And he's had some injuries as well. So that's going to be a question mark. Right now, what I've been reading and talking to people about is that linebacker position is pretty wide open. I mean, you got Craig Robertson there, you got other guys, you got Stephon Anthony, you got a lot of guys grouped in there, and I think they're going to be looking close at training camp who's going to step up to make that move. And you're right, stopping the run, that seems to having trouble stopping anybody right now, pass or run. And if you can't stop the run, that's not going to be a good year. So.
if you can't stop the run, you can't win it in the NFL. It's really that simple, in spite of how passing dominant the league is. I have a question for you, though. You touched on the linebacking core. The deal, I mean, look, Stephon Anthony, when he's on the field, he's looked the potential, the ceiling looks really, really high on that fellow. I guess talk to the audience and to us, I guess, about what you think talk about Stephon Anthony. What do you think about him in the pro? I think the sky could be the limit for this kid if he stays healthy.
That's the key. That's the key. And the NFL with injuries, it's just, I hate to say it, it's just bad luck sometimes. I mean, you see some of these injuries on the field. And a lot of times, it don't come when somebody's coming at you about 50 miles an hour. Sometimes you just trip over your own guy's leg, or just freak things. So it's you can only do so much to prevent injuries. You can do conditioning and eat right and work out. So hopefully luck is going to be on his side. And I agree. Yeah, he would be awesome if he could just stay healthy. And that's going to be the key again to this football team. 2017. They cannot have any more major injuries. Right now they're at max, and they just can't afford any more injuries. As simple as that. So.
All right, Perry, you have anything for Dean?
Yeah, let's do this, guys. Let's go to break after this. But one last question before break. Dean, Adrian Peterson, plus or minus 1,000 yards for the season?
I'm going to have to go minus on that, even though I think he is going to be just awesome. I saw him in mini camp, a 3-day mini camp, was a couple weeks ago. I still think Ingram is going to get, the majority of the carry. So I think Peterson is actually going to average more per carry. I just don't think he's going to hit 1,000 yards.
All right.
Well, if you think that he's going to average.
After the break, we'll ask you about a division prediction. But right now, coming up, we've got Black Alicious, and you know what? A couple of weeks ago, guys, I reported that the J5, Jurassic 5, was a new group. They're actually not a new group. They've been around for a number of years. They broke up and they reformed. So they are out of the same genre as our next artist, Black Alicious. Check this out. I think you'll like this song. Make sure that we're on top of the editing that we need, guys.
Yes, sir. All right, so coming up, Black Alicious, Deception.
This is a story of a kid, his name is Cisco, who made more money than the counter money Crisco. He lived a lavish style of life, fast money, women, cars, and he liked to frequent bars, pubs, and discos. Made his living as a world-famous rap star. When he first started, Mike respects what he was after. And so he got inside his mind, day and night, and he write constantly his art and craft he tried to master. Started winning local battles and his rap grew. Gave his crew a reputation as the best crew. And when life would do to him all the cards that was hard, pen and pad, stress relief would be his refuge. Made his dues doing shows, now he's on track. In the lab, pumping demos, making songs fat. Then he quit his 9 to 5, finally his time arrived when he signed a major label record contract. Money changer. Gassed his head, taking it to the point where he lost proper perspective. Started cutting off the people he came up with. Ego blown like his soul had been abducted. Though his heart was once real, now material was filled up his world and he couldn't get enough of it. Used to want to be the best of the rap times. Now his only one concern is going platinum. And his skill has since decreased and the never cease. Now content just as long as fame and cash come. He's a big Willie now, rapping about cars. $1,000 shopping sprees, hanging out with stars. I mean, just a year ago, he was broke, bumming money, drinking out the 40 bottle, living old Lord. Money changer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Blackalicious with Deception. Sorry about that.
Yeah, man. And yeah, Dean, we was also talking about, I heard you talked about your predictions earlier, and you said that you predicted the Saints would go 12-4. So obviously, to me, that means that you picked them to win the NFC South. We know in the last few years it's been almost like a carousel in the NFC South. I think the NFC South has the best quarterbacks for as a whole division, top to bottom. You also talked about having an effective pass rush. So obviously, if you think they're going to go 12-4, then you're predicting they're going to win the NFC South. Am I correct?
Actually, no. That would be the logical thing to say, but actually, there is one team that I have going to the Super Bowl. That is now. Tampa Bay has been in this actually. He's coming in as a wild card at 12-4. I know it seems crazy, but Tampa Bay, watch Tampa Bay this year. That's all I'm going to say. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Saints win the division, but I really think Tampa's got it together this year.
So you're saying Tampa Bay is going to win a division, or are you just saying watch Tampa Bay? Because, of course, you're saying Atlanta, I would assume.
No. I'm saying Tampa Bay is going to win the NFC South. That's what I'm saying.
I've heard bolder predictions. There's no getting around it. Jameis Winston has developed, and that year 3, he could look. I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world. I don't think the Buccaneers have the other parts of their game.
What about Atlanta? So Atlanta's not going to make the playoffs, you think?
I'm not commenting one way or the other on Atlanta at the moment. Because honestly, I've not watched their offseason moves enough. I do think that they overachieved. It sounds funny to say the NFC champions overachieved, but I do think they overachieved a little bit last year, and they got exposed a little bit for some of their flaws at the end of the year, particularly in the trenches and line play on both sides. You saw a few weaknesses, and the Patriots exploited that. I think that's part of the reason the Pats won the Super Bowl was the both sides of their line, offensive and defensive, couldn't quite hold the dam from breaking from Tom Brady on one side and from the Patriots pass rush on the other. Be that as it may, it's a whole new season.
Carolina.
I think
Cam Newton.
I think they'll be competitive, but the Panthers have a ton of problems. I think Cam Newton is I think the year they made the Super Bowl, Cam Newton was kind of like, some people put on a lot of cologne even though they need to take a shower. Yep. I think Cam Newton masked a lot of that. That in the presence of Josh Norman, I think him stepping up, made that defense look a lot better than it was. I don't even think the Panthers, honestly, I don't expect them to have a winning season this year. Not because I expect Cam to play poorly. I think the Panthers have got a lot of weaknesses. But I do think the Saints can go have a winning season. I'm thinking more like 10-6 with a good shot at the postseason. Now, as long as Drew Brees is healthy, they can win. There's no game they cannot win if Drew Brees is healthy.
Well, the Panthers have problems not only with their roster, but also at the top, firing their GM, replacing him with his replacement. Perry, talk to us. What do you think about your prediction for the NFC South?
Well, I don't know. I find it difficult to figure Tampa Bay is going to win it, though. Jameis Winston leading the league in interceptions.
He has some new weapons this year, though. DJ.
Got O.J. Howard, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'll be interesting
tough division
to see.
Yeah.
It'll be. Hey, I'll be pulling for them.
Yeah.
Boo!
Yeah. I just think that, man, I think it's a lot of parity actually in NFC South, and I think it's going to be very exciting to see. I think Cam Newton is going to be actually motivated. And one thing about the NFL, it's hard to predict. It's not like Golden State we know we're going to be in the finals.
It is. You're right, Joe.
It is, and a surprise team can come out of nowhere. And so at the end of the day, Tampa Bay, I don't know, but Cam Newton is going to be, I think, on a he's going to be trying to rebound from after a couple of years ago he did at the MVP, and now he took a step back. Also, I think Drew Brees is going to try to.
He should be healthy this year.
Drew Brees is getting a little older, and sometimes
and a little still leading the league in passing yards.
And still, he is. And of course, we know that Saints can put up 30 on any team.
Right.
So my main concern is always the defense. So to me, to go 12-4, that means you're going to have a really good defense to be able to stop other teams. And I don't know. I probably will go like you, maybe 10-6, wild card.
Yeah.
I hope they win a division,
I have
to favor Atlanta.
I'm not even going to say. I'm going to say the Saints going to go be 500 this year. I mean, you have offensive line issues, and you have an aging quarterback.
Keep saying aging, but he's younger than Tom Brady.
Yeah,
and Tom Brady destroyed the whole league last year, 12 games.
Well, I mean, hey, but the Saints.
I kind of like Atlanta to do a Buffalo Bills style run to get back to the Super Bowl and lose.
I totally agree, Perry, because they have they have weapons. I mean,
Julio Jones and Matt Ryan.
The defense, but those, even though they're running backs, they have utility backs coming out the backfield. Those guys, those speed guys. Even though
Coleman
the defense, they have some, dynamic players.
And then they did add a pass rusher, something that they lacked.
We got 15 minutes left, and Perry, I'm guessing you want to steer the ship towards that social issue, correct?
Right.
Since we're talking speed and NFL, that's a perfect segue.
All right.
Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, I don't know.
Today's social issue, when I saw this, I posted on my Facebook, the juice is loose. The juice is loose.
I should have known.
And the juice will not be loose officially until October, but the juice was granted parole. O.J. Simpson, who was been serving a 9-year sentence for his part in a botched robbery, was granted parole by the Las Vegas Parole Board. He's been in Lovelock Prison. And this created quite a firestorm. A lot of people felt like that O.J. shouldn't have been able to get out. They felt like, he was guilty of killing his wife and Ron Goldman. So, a lot of people felt like this sentence for this robbery was to punish him for getting off for that crime. But nonetheless, the parole board voted 4-0 to free the juice. And, this is something that it's a sports issue, it's a social issue, because it touched so many lives. I was a young kid when this happened, and I remember the coverage it got when he was on trial, and then when he was on trial for the robbery, on trial for murder, then on trial for the robbery. So, hey, I'm glad he got his parole. Hopefully he'll, do better with this second chance. He still has a ton of money because the NFL has been paying his retirement. So he's going to walk out of prison with money in his pocket.
He will before the Goldmans take some of it out of it. I got to say, this
I saw a great post yesterday. I just want to acknowledge it. You had a great post on Facebook yesterday, and I wanted to know if you wanted to kind of elaborate.
You led me right into that. Look, I think this is one of those stories that is a story because, first of all, O.J. is famous, and because O.J. was accused of murder. Because even O.J. being famous, you plug out the murders, and this was just another famous star who did something wrong who's getting out of jail. But because of the murder cases and everything that took the country through back in the mid-'90s, it made news. This is what I think. Regardless of what I personally, I think but for O.J. Simpson, his ex-wife, and her boyfriend or friend or whatever it is would still be alive. I think he's responsible for those killings. But the criminal justice system didn't see it that way. The jury acquitted him. I thought the prosecution was beyond terrible, but that's beside the point. That is over. He went to civil court, very different standards of proof, different kind of system there, and that's done. The fast forward, he was on parole hearings for being paroled for a crime he committed where he and his associates went into a Las Vegas hotel room with guns, held the people there, and he supposedly took back some of what was his and probably some things that might not have been. That's the incident for which he's being paroled. He did the crime. He got convicted. He's done the time. And from what I understand, from anyone like O.J. who's behaved himself in prison and has shown no risk behaviors in prison, it's kind of a slam. It's routine. It really wasn't much drama or surprise. He did what he was supposed to do during his time in prison. And I think, and honestly, I'm so far I'm kind of impressed because the general, I haven't seen so many people say, well, 9 years isn't enough for the murder.
Oh, he was over sentenced.
Yeah, well,
actually.
I think his lawyer, he was a younger black guy back then. I can't remember his name now. He's the one who's still living. He was talking in the OJ documentary, but he said, look, a first offense like this, you might get a year or two with some supervised probation, and that's it. They fifth quartered him. They
3 years.
Yeah, they sucker punched him with that. Well, he's talking about the time he'd actually have to spend behind bars as opposed to 9 years. So, OJ, I think just based on this, he did what he was supposed to do, and the parole board evaluated it based on his involvement in this crime, and that's what I think it was supposed to do. And I think it's also kind of time to move on, because the bottom line is he's not being he's not being retried for Nicole Brown or Ron Goldman's murder. That's not coming back. He's still going to be in the hole to the Goldmans, for every traceable dollar for as long as he lives. He is justice has been served in that case. Good,
OJ.
bad, right, wrong, regardless of what we think. It's done. It's over, and it's, in my opinion, time to move on.
Well, I feel
like lighting a cigarette now.
Well, I think that O.J. Simpson is a polarizing figure in American culture. He's almost like a timestamp. Everything with O.J. O.J. has affected a lot of stuff for us in media. O.J. started Court TV. O.J. has put a lot of. I'm serious. I'm very serious.
I agree with you.
O.J. has brought a lot of money and done a lot of things and made a lot of people's career. A lot of people made books and stuff off of O.J. I'm not the biggest O.J. as far as because O.J. didn't really support his community, the African American community. So that's kind of where I part ways. But at the end of the day, I think that we look at another famous person that you don't hear as much outcry, and that was Robert Blake, a.k.a. Beretta. Mm-hmm. He also went to trial for killing his wife. He was found not guilty. You heard a little bit, but it's just something about O.J. To African Americans, O.J. was basically and he was, O.J. was basically like a symbol in a way. It's like we didn't really accept the person O.J., but all of the injustice that we've seen and everything. And I still kind of go back and forth whether I think he was guilty or not, because even though it's some evidence that shows, but it's a lot of missing questions.
Right.
It's like, where's all the blood? If you killed a person like that, how come he wasn't drenched in blood? How come is no one found at his house? Then we got one glove here. You got a little minute. It's just some things just did not add up, and I think that's where the jury.
The neighbor was mad about the barking dogs and chopped Nicole Simpson.
Well, I'm not going to say that he wasn't responsible or he didn't have anything to do with it. But to me, for him to, I just can't go all the way there, because I just think it would be a lot more evidence, and it just was too murky with Mark Furman. Just different things.
The lead detective perched himself on the stand,
but not to retry the case. But my point was. And just like how we're talking about it now, it just took America
this is 20 some odd years later.
Right, and we're still talking about it.
It's a hot topic.
They discontinued making Broncos because of O.J. Simpson. That's a true story. That's a true story. I think they're getting ready to start back making them here in a few years, but
just not in white.
They discontinued making a Ford Bronco. A lot of things. So he's almost it's just. And now this is the Parole of the Century. I heard it was 500 million viewers that watched all over the world that watched that parole hearing, right. And that just goes to show you the But hey, hopefully, 70 years old now. So
yeah, Dean, give us your comments on O.J.'s parole.
It's funny. I watched the O.J. case back in the 90s every single day. I don't think I missed a day of that case, and it's just amazing to me that his name is still relevant after all these years. I mean, he's probably more famous than Orange Juice. I think O.J. has knocked that off. And as far as the parole, the law has spoken. I mean, sometimes the decisions that come out are just not fair. And I truly believe this, honestly. I think the whole case and all that stuff is about how O.J. had money and fame. It didn't, in my opinion, it didn't have anything to do with race. It did in the end, but if O.J. didn't have money, he wouldn't have those lawyers and those defense lawyers. And he had some damn good lawyers. And that's the reason he got off. Whether you think he's guilty or not, it's about money. But he served his time. I hope he does he's in the community, and that's pretty much it. I'm ready to move on, too. It's just like, you would think with all the news and stuff, he still comes out and makes the news. It's pretty amazing, actually. That's about all I got to say about that.
It is fascinating. Derek, you brought up, and Dean just brought up just now. It's like all the stuff going. I mean, look, you say Trump, and that's like a gasoline fire for talk. You can talk about
even Trump.
We could talk Trump for the next hour if Noel didn't want to come in, right?
2 hours.
And OJ for at least a day or two, for a full news cycle and a half, dominated all that. Took
Trump.
Donald Trump
Wow.
out of the media. It is amazing how polarizing, how hot this issue, how volatile this issue can still be all these years later.
And that's something that OJ is going to have to live with.
Right.
So even though he's being released, he's going to have to always have that stigma. He is one of the most hated men in America, along with Zimmerman and Donald Trump or whatever like that. But so that's something that he's going to have to live with the rest of his life.
Well, 2 things I
I
want
don't
to
think
point out.
Coach never got in on this yet.
Of course, we got to hear Coach.
Go ahead, Perry.
Lift his volume.
Okay, so yes, Dean's exactly right. Class played a big issue in the case, although I disagree on it being the dominant theme in that case. Race is what made this thing so explosive and so passionate on both sides. And it's race that sentenced him to 9 years of a 33-year sentence. And the man did not have a weapon in his hand when he went to go get back his memorabilia. So that's all based on race when you talk about the level of the sentencing. So, look, man, I struggled with ESPN broadcasting this. I didn't watch it because I just couldn't reconcile watching this hero in the twilight of his life being taken through what this man has been taken through. You know, regardless of what you think about the McCoil case, he was found not guilty in a court of law. And every time a police officer is found not guilty in a court of law, we decide to live by it.
Right.
And we should do the same with James Simpson.
No, that was. Let me tell you. Go ahead, Perry. I'm sorry.
So, but I just struggled with the whole commercialization of it yesterday,
Right.
Or Thursday. But I'm glad to see that the brother's out, and hopefully he will go on to be able to financially live the type of lifestyle that his talent has earned him.
Right. And we got 3 minutes left. I just want to point out two key things. He had 2 people at his parole hearing. His daughter, Arnell Simpson, talked to the parole board, and the victim, Bruce Fromone, said, "I'll come and pick you up if you need a ride." I mean, how many people have their victims?
Well, I think that's the least he could do. You know what I mean? I mean, OJ did 9 years for his own memorabilia.
Speaking of 3 minutes, what do we have coming up in 3 minutes? We got
Noel Jackson's Music Satisfaction
on 96.9 FM WHYRLP, Baton Rouge Community
And
Radio.
then he was also moved to protective custody. So, where he's not going to be around other inmates. So,
well, now,
can't mess it up.
Right? You can't mess it up. He has 90 days, pretty much close to that, a little under that before he comes home, and so you don't want nothing to.
Right. Well, our last 2 minutes, just want to mention this big trade demand. Kyrie Irving wants to get out of Cleveland.
I mean,
I don't get it. I heard about that yesterday. I don't get it. Where is he going to go? It's going to be better than where he is now.
He wants to be a cornerstone. The cornerstone of the NBA, you're not going to have one. You're going to have always more than one. So,
well, he's not that. From what I hear is he idolizes Kobe Bryant, and so it's almost like a Kobe Bryant that wanted to do it by himself without Shaq. Like
how'd that work out?
Well, he got 2 rings with Paul Gasol, but at the end of the day, I think they could have got more with Shaq.
Exactly.
And they said Kobe Bryant. They said that Kyrie actually FaceTimed Kobe Bryant during the championship year when they won. He idolizes Kobe, and he looks at it as, he was under the impression that the GM sat down with him and told him that this team was going to be built around him. Then 2 weeks later, LeBron comes, and so that's kind of the gist of it.
60 seconds, folks.
Well, we want to thank Dean Mullen for spending this hour with us today talking about the Saints. Dean, you are welcome to call in and be a part of the Louisiana All-American Sports Show any Saturday at 11 a.m. Thank you so much, Dean.
Much appreciated, sir.
Perry, close us out.
Thank you, Mean Gene, Dean, Bean,
Kyrie
Dean, Scene.
Irving is crazy. ADP, JNS, love you.
Have a good afternoon.
Peace out,
That's how you
everybody.
walk it off,
Same
baby.
time next week.
Short and
All
sweet.
right.